Let's rock and roll, man. Well, first off, Adrian, super excited to have you on here. You and I have been friends for what, almost 6 years now. It's been
absolutely
cool.
easily.
And, like I said, what I'm doing is just kind of the founder's journey, the story. I want to hear about your journey and share that. And it's always fun because even though we've been going back and forth for 5 or 6 years, tossing you into AI and go, tell me who the hell Adrian is kind of funny. You had a really, a lot of stuff has happened in your past. You've been in the startup VC game with ACV Auctions, Home Team, One Fine Stay, H Bloom. But then it looks like you've had really robust entrepreneur history.
Yeah.
But just a couple of shout outs that I thought was cool. First off, congratulations on hitting 270.
Getting damn close. Getting damn close, man. I think we just posted 267 this week, so we're getting.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But 270 is already in the can. I promise, brother.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for 300 because that'll be. Yeah, I want to be third time at 300.
You will be. You'll be the first third timer, bro. The first third timer.
I love that. And then one of the top 10 best CX podcasts for 2024. So that's pretty awesome. You're an accomplished author of a fantastic book, which I was pretty stoked because I couldn't find it, but I actually found it.
Oh, nice.
CX, the 4 CX pillars, which I know we've evolved to 5. And then I just love your mission, and I know you've been kind of tossing this out, and it's just on a mission to make happiness a habit. So I guess looking back, I'd just love to know, how was CXC wasn't your first solo entrepreneur leadership step? And just tell me, like, that journey. Have you always been an entrepreneur?
Yep. So a couple of number one, thank you so much for having me here, brother. Like I was so pumped when you told me you were going to start doing. And I think I've been telling you for years, Lee, you got to go start doing your own. So you're doing fantastic. I love the content you're putting out. I love the thought leadership you're putting out. Guys, Lee and myself are proof that, like, in business and in life, man, I don't care what your work is, I don't care what your trade is, but like Lee and myself are prime examples of when you literally get to a partner level of the relationship in any business, not just a transaction, not just a doing shit for people, but like you get to a partner level. Then there's this last level. There's this last level called friendship. And you hear a lot of people talk about this all the time in business. Some of the most, accomplished people on planet Earth, they don't just do they don't do business just with other millionaires and other 100 millionaires. They do business with their friends for a reason, right? They know them, they trust them. They already understand the things that they know more about. And then there's the collaborative piece. So number one, I just want to call that out, man. Like, so Lee and I have known each other for years. Lee is also one of the only reasons why CX Chronicles is here, guys. Lee was one of the first people to make a bet on us all those years ago when I left ACV Auctions and I started this whole business. Lee's then brought us into a few of the companies that he's been leading and directing over the years. So, but no, this was not my first business. Full candor. I want to say, like, if you were to put CXC on a list, Lee, this might be like the 13th, brother, like the 12th or the 13th. I mean, when I was all the way back from when I was a kid, like I was always entrepreneurial. So yeah, to answer that part of the question, like I was always fascinated by different business owners. And like, I remember being in school and learning about like our industrialists and the Rockefellers and the JP Morgan Chases and the Henry Ford. And I just remember being fascinated by that. And I remember being fascinated by like how these people were also able to build shit that the world didn't even know was ready for yet. And then, you know what? That didn't stop them. And then they kept just doing and showing and proving and doing. So I was always fascinated with this entrepreneurial thing of just like, people are going to think you're crazy, man. And people are going to think you're nuts. And some people are going to think you're lazy because you're not just going and collecting a check. But like, I was always fascinated in the entrepreneurial stuff. When I got out of school, part of why I didn't go to I went to SUNY Plattsburgh, mainly because I was literally 17, 18 years old. And I told my mom and dad, I'm like, I don't want a bunch of college debt. I'm just going to go start businesses. So like, I even knew at that stage of the journey where like, shit, like I'll go to state school, I'll take business classes, I'll figure out what I really want to do. Yeah. And then, when I got out of college, I was very lucky. I came out to Buffalo for a minute, worked for a business that allowed me to move down to Florida. So then again, I was like 22, and then I was already on to like my second or third business at that point. In college, I had a couple of different side hustles. The first business I ever had was a property management business down in Florida during the 2008 real estate collapse. And so then like I did that for 3-4 years. I thought, by the way, I was like, holy shit, this is easy stuff because we were crushing it. It was the 2008. Yeah. Our job, Lee, was to drive around Florida, taking care of bank-owned homes in 2008. obviously your business was going to be doing well, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
But it taught me like a lot about just like how, number one, how freaking hard this stuff is, even when you're being fed work, even if if you're fortunate enough to have some source that just keeps feeding you regular work and giving you that constant base of revenue, that constant base of just being able to get at bats with your customers in your field, whatever your trade is. So I did that, and then frankly, you know, I thought I was a little bit too young to be living in Florida, and then I had this great opportunity to move up to the New York City, New Jersey area. And when I went up there, I was it was actually related to this business. We were supposed to win a state contract for New Jersey. That didn't happen. It was probably one of the best things that ever happened in my life, because then I ended up spending 10 years in Manhattan, brother, working at like a plethora of different venture capital backed startup. You mentioned Home Team. I spent time at H1, one of the fastest growing floral subscription companies in the world at that time. We'd raised $25 million to deliver flowers, Lee. So like that was, and I got to spend 4 years building that business and just learning a ton about the intricacies of venture capital and leaving the world of small business and entering this world of we're a small business, but we got $17 million in the bank, so we can go fast. We can go, you know. And then I spent time at One Fine Stay, which was one of the first white glove Airbnbs. So guys, for all of our short-term rental fans out there, whether you're hosts or guests, we built an Airbnb for the 1%. So we were in New York City, London, Paris, Los Angeles, and during the few years that I was there building CX there, you know, I got another taste of working for one of the hardest bases I've ever had to work for, frankly, because these folks were renting out their multi-million-dollar properties. Yeah. So then on both sides of the game, both for the lady that's renting her $5 million place and for the guy that's renting that $5 million place, customer experience and expectations and value and all this stuff. I started to learn about that from some people that, let's just say, some of those folks, they're people that know what they want, they can afford it, and they know what they're getting.
And they're going to tell you.
I kind of learned some of that stuff, and then you mentioned Home Team already. Spent time at a home healthcare technology company, and then ACV Auctions, the last one you mentioned. The only reason why I came back to Buffalo, New York, was I had an opportunity to help build our first public company, man, in freaking decades, Lee. It was like, you know, Buffalo, New York takes a lot of shit outside of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills rocking right now.
Right, the one shining light.
I had an opportunity to build CX at our lone unicorn, and then. But that was the company, Lee, and you know this, I tell you this all the time, brother, but like that was the company that when that company went public, I realized, like, wait a minute, I've now been, number one, I realized what I was good at, like, regardless of what I really wanted to build or what, I realized what I was good at. I was good at working with customers. I was good at working with customer-facing teams. I was good at understanding the intricacies of team building, technology, investments, optimization, utilization training. I was starting to get good at the process wrangling. It's CX Chronicles. Chronicling what smart people know, and then feedback, man. Just like you, brother, I never looked at getting customer or employee feedback as a chore. I fucking love it. It's one of my favorite things. Talk to customers, talk to employees, figure out the truth in the middle somewhere. So that's kind of that's the scoop. And then as
that's
the
story. Okay, that's good. I actually haven't heard that level of detail, but so it sounds like early on, totally open to like, I don't know, I'm going to figure it out. I can start something, jump in. You were definitely, you've had a lot of change in the sense of you've started stuff, a couple years, moved on. You haven't been afraid of jumping into new things. You've also had amazing experience to be able to go from small business to VC. So, I mean, starting CX Chronicles, which is pretty cool, because then you've gotten to this place where you have focused down. You've been very good at solving. You know what you're good at, and you're solving that problem for people. So that's pretty amazing. So I guess on the personal side, you know, what's been the most valuable personal growth that you've gone through all these businesses that you have learned about yourself and how you put together your company, your team, and your leadership style?
Super good question. You just nailed it, man. I got to work with, it's funny, some of my friends, man, like I'm 40 years old. I have no problem admitting my age.
I'm 42. No.
You look pretty damn good for your age, fella. Guys, Lee is one of the few people I know that can go ride 80 miles on his bicycle right this freaking second and barely be sweating. I got to watch all these different leadership teams. And Lee, you know that this is now that I'm a little bit older, wiser, more mature, I realize that this is kind of like a secret sauce or magic sauce. But like, I worked for some leadership teams that were, super invested in their people and wanted to listen to their employees and wanted to listen to their customers and wanted to be a part of the journey. They wanted to be a part of the building or the evolution. They want hands-on. I worked with leadership teams that were super hands-on. I've worked with leadership teams that you wonder where the hell they were half the time. At least, but you know, paychecks were getting cashed and the business was working. But like, Didn't see him, but that's fine too. Like, look, some people got different reasons for doing this stuff. And then, as you mentioned, like as I kind of started to work for like slightly larger businesses, and then now with CXC over the last 5 years, like working with over 100 different companies. So now, like in this world, now we get to see a lot of different types of leadership teams in motion. And I guess I sort of just started to pay attention to early. What were some of the things that I liked? Like, what were some of the things that I appreciated? What were and I consider myself an A player, whether I was or I wasn't, that doesn't matter. Like, we all got to figure out our own stuff. But like, I was like, man, if I like, what were the things that like I kept seeing that were going to keep a guy like me around and not get me bored and not make me want to just fuck off to the next thing and not make me just disinterested or said another way. And that is for many of our listeners right now today, people that are guys and gals that are leading teams and owning budgets and like, man, you know how hard this is to live in a world sometimes when you get 20, 30, 40, 50 people below you. 80% of them already know the big three problems inside and out because they got to live that shit every day. And then you're in a general management or you're in some type of extended leadership team role. There's nothing you can do about it. You keep reporting it up and you keep reporting it up and you get it. And so like for me, I guess like there was a few things I started to build into a short list. Number one is like, absolutely, people come first, team comes first. Me and you joke about it all the time on the CX Chronicles podcast. 95% of those people all agree before you get to the other pillars, man. If you don't got the right guys and gals on your team, that other shit is not going to develop as good or as well as it could. So like I had that from an early age where it's like, okay, team is everything, and you got to invest in your people, and you got to be there for your people. There's different levels to this stuff, and some people, don't get me wrong, there's just countless people that are way beyond all of us who have made a ton of money and found a bunch of business success that didn't give a shit about the teams. But like, I knew that's not one of the ones I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to kind of like, so that was number one. Number two is this notion of, I started to like realize early, way before everybody was talking about customer journeys and voice of customer and all the stuff that I started to like realize kind of even earlier into my journey, like, wait a minute, hold on. If you're like doing a good job of keeping in check with your top or your top priority, your main customers, you're keeping in check every single day or every single week with your top or your main contributors and your performers, the guys and gals that are delivering for those people. And then I always loved, as you know, you joke with me all the time, like Lee guys, for those of you that know Lee is extremely technical. He doesn't think he's nearly as technical as he is. He's super technical. For someone like me, I'm like the dancing bear that has been able to tell stories in between the non-technical and the technical. And so I know about like software, and I know about technology. I've been using it my whole life. But I started to realize really quickly how to bring the voice of the builder or the voice of the engineers close. So before this even became a thing that everybody kind of talks about now. So like, so another way, I'd always have a couple of my best friends who were engineers and developers where minimally on a weekly basis, I'd be like, all right, you guys know what the customers are really saying? And then do you know what our team is really saying? And then basically I would talk to these people that were smarter than me, and I'd show them the stuff that I was seeing and feeling and hearing and storytelling. Then they'd be like, oh shit, okay. Oh, we'll build it a little bit different, or we'll tweak it a little bit. So like,
driving the change with the actual early.
And I knew it was important, and I knew I wanted to be like a leader that would have that type of ownership on a journey. People got to do their jobs, and you got to be able to delegate. But I wanted to make sure that I was the type of leader that always had other people around them that understood, man, that journey's got all the answers inside of it for whatever the hell you want to do with your business. So, and those are kind of some of the big things. I guess the last thing is just learning.
Well, no, and I think your passion, and you started CX with that vision, the CX Chronicles, and I think reading your book early on when we first like, who is this guy? And I was on your podcast, and then I brought you in to help at Yellowfin. But it's like your book really left a mark on me, just thinking about this shift. And we talked about this before, but the shift from the CS silo to the customer experience platform across an organization and hanging things on. I mean, if you do a good job with your team and your customer and the process, and team tools, process, and feedback of the pillars, right? But you really are bringing the whole organization together around what really matters, which is the success of your customers at the end of the day.
Well, that's correct. That's correct. Take it a step further. Making sure that everybody understands the granular of what you just said, Lee. Like, remember me and you were joking around about something the other day about a CFO, or I was saying to you the CFO that had nothing to do with the 5% lift and churn. Well, but the 5% of lift, 80% of it was because of our new invoicing, you silly son of a gun. So tell me how that CFO doesn't own a part of that journey right there, because that was X amount of dollars that if I was that CEO, know where I'd place that little error that day or that game, right?
No, and I think, it's and again, changing that mentality where everyone is part of the customer experience, the moments that matter. Like, So that's always left a big mark on me with that. The way that you look at trying to solve the problems of business today with, and I love kind of having a better insight on the CX Chronicles. So, all right. So how do you keep your passion and vision going? Like, how do you motivate yourself or your team at CX Chronicles?
How do I motivate myself is a great question. I'm definitely constantly learning. And you and I know this, brother. Me and you share books and pods all the freaking time. So you have the inside look in this, but like whether it's being on the lookout for new content that can help me get educated faster. Because guys, it's called what it is, man. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I read 100 books a year. I'm not, but I can tell you unequivocally that I listen to probably 40 or 50 a year, and then I listen to hundreds of podcast episodes, but not from me, by the way, from other people that I find inspiring. So to answer your question, like I don't care if dude, not business, by the way, either. Like whether it's like Joe Rogan or whether it's a golf podcast or whether it's dude, recently I've been in a car racing podcast. I have a very good friend of mine. We went to one of his races recently. It was, and it had been a long time since I've been at a race. And I'm sorry, but watching cars whip past you 150 miles an hour, it's pretty badass. And like for the last couple of weeks, I've been going down this rabbit hole, listening to how some of these NASCAR legends, how they're doing their podcast. So like number one is that I keep myself inspired by like always on the hunt for learning it. And then I love to, selfishly with these podcasts, I force myself to listen to everything, Lee. Like entertaining shit, crime stories, business stuff, marketing, finance. Like I try to listen to all this different stuff because I like just hearing how different people are telling stories and how different people are educated. And then lastly, man, these guests, people constantly forget, like take your favorite podcasts, go through their last 50 to 100 guests, shoot your favorite ones in email or shoot your favorite ones in LinkedIn. Because like the other thing that I'm doing is like, when I hear fascinating people, obviously some of them could still be out of your reach or whatever, but like, it doesn't hurt to send them a LinkedIn note.
And just, I really liked your podcast, or at least follow them.
100%.
They're sharing insights and changes and stuff as well.
Absolutely. So I'd say that's the biggest way I keep myself motivated. Outside of all that, golf and similar to Europe. You're either on the mountain or on your bicycle. For me, I'm either on the golf course. Lee gets mad at me guys when I don't answer on Fridays because I'm probably
I'm stopped calling you on Fridays because I know you're out there. I'm trying to get my golf game better.
Spending time with the families I support too.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you're sitting down with a younger you or someone who is like thinking about making that first step to be like, I think I'm going to start my own business, or I'm finally going to take that CEO role. What's your kind of advice and the things you wish you had known or want to pass on to someone who's taking that first step?
Number one, look, number one, life is literally all about the choices that you make. But more importantly, it's about the actions you take. And so like for somebody that has their first big opportunity like that, obviously we're all going to have our own individual ways of calculating whether or not that's something we want or we don't want. I just think that like I'm in this world of where, and Lee, you know me well, man. And then you've introduced me to some of your friends that'll come back to you and be like, you're right, Adrian, but like I am a big believer in like we got one life, man. So like don't sit and shit if you're not happy. Don't sit in places if it doesn't really kind of make you feel good. Not everyone's going to be lucky enough to be able to follow their dream or their path. Not everyone can find that. Let's call it what it is. That's okay. But you do got to find some of the parts of the craft or the thing that you end up selecting as your craft that you do like and that you do enjoy the continuous improvement. You do want to go learn a little bit more about how other people in the world do. So like, I think like number one, it's like when opportunities present themselves, as long as your analysis of it is in a positive direction, you always say yes to things that can only bring more good. You can always say no later, or you can always make a change. So I'm always pushing people in that regard. And then I think the other big thing too is like I would have told my younger self that it's not necessary to have some of this institutional buildup or the great. Now I got a gray beard and I got this voice that only a life can produce. But like 20-year-old Adrian, man, like I joke around with some of my best friends, like shit, like what, like if I would have known that just continuing to work hard, continuing to say yes, and continuing to learn and continuing to push things up to the right all those years ago, who knows that I wouldn't have been the biggest developer in South Florida right now at age 40? Who knows 20 years from never leaving that? So like, I guess there's this other piece that I always tell people where it's like, if you like what you're doing, if it's working, if you keep finding ways of making money or getting people interested and wanting to talk to you or work with you, there's something to that. So keep following that. And then I think the last thing, and me and you already know this well, for you, it's being on the mountain, it's being on your mountain bike. For me, it's being out on the golf course or on the beach or whatever. I would have told my younger self that it is okay to have some level of slam on the brakes, calm down a bit. It's one thing to be going 100 fucking miles an hour every single day, but you still got to be able to pull over and fill up that gas tank from time to time. And I'm trying to get better about that now that I've got, family.
Now your dad,
exactly. So now it's a little bit different, but like, I wish I would have been practicing that and exercising that the last 10 years, Lee, instead, being, selfishly very focused on my business, my career, CXC, meeting and working with awesome people like you. So, but my younger self, I would have said, figure out how to start finding more ways to slow it down, right? Slow it down, recharge the batteries.
Yeah. All right. Last one. What's the biggest myth about being a founder or leader?
Overnight success, huh?
Yep.
Overnight success. Guys, even the founder who has had a situation where she was able to, let's just say, in 600 days, she started her business and sold it for X, because there's some of those stories out there.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? That woman founder still spent 10 years in her life somewhere where she was working her ass off, learning shit, figuring out who was going to connect these dots. So there's no such thing as overnight success with founders. And the ones that do achieve it, more often than not, they're second, third, fourth time founders. So in effect, they're simply rerunning a playbook that works for them in other areas. And then they're leveraging. They're leveraging on their learnings. They're leveraging on their life.
No, I just had the last founder I talked to, Josh. Same thing. He had started a business and it completely failed, and he had to basically re-architect the software, renamed the company, and then now it's working. But he had a great thing. He's like, I would have not been successful had I not failed first 100%. To know what I learned to make something better. Right?
Dude, it is way more misses on your at-bats than it is cracking them out of the fucking park. Everybody knows that. And if you don't, that's going to be one of the first places you should learn. And for some of our sports fans out there, how many shots did Jordan miss?
Oh, yeah. No.
How many times did Barry Bonds, when he went up outside of all the home runs, and regardless of the other stuff, how many times did Barry Bonds strike out?
Yep. A lot.
Dude, and then in business, man, people make their comments about Bezos and Elon, and how many freaking times did those guys fail?
Yeah. So, that's the old advantage. If you don't swing, you're never going to get on base.
Never going to hit it. Yep, you're never going to hit it, man.
All right, Adrian. Well, thank you for the time. Where can people connect with you, find you, engage with the Adrian of CX Chronicles?
Well, number one, certainly, thank you. And I'm freaking so pumped for you doing this, man. I'm so pumped that you're doing this, and you're going to be getting all these incredible stories that I've known about you forever out there in the world. But first place, easiest place, check us out at cxchronicles.com. It's going to be the first place you can check us out. You can hit us up on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time, as people that know me will find out. And then just reach out to us. Any questions at all? Anything about customer experience, customer journeys, anything about ways that some of the best and the brightest companies on planet Earth are thinking about how to manage not just their team, their tools, their process, and feedback, but how they're going to make their AI investments for the future, what their AI bets are going to look like. Reach out to us. We love talking with customer-focused business leaders from all over the world, man.
Awesome, Adrian. Appreciate it, brother. You have a good day.
Thanks.